all together.
Hey, it's Dana from MadeEveryday.com. Today I want to show you how to make a fun little vinyl case for your sunglasses. I love working with vinyl because it adds a really fun element and texture to your project. And it looks really professional rather than just sewing with cotton all the time. When you're using these for a sunglasses case, it's really hardy and thick and protects your glasses well. And there are so many fun different styles that you can try. So here's what you need. About 1/4 yard of vinyl fabric in a variety of colors. The other thing I love about sewing with vinyl is that it doesn't have any fraying edges, which makes it really easy to just cut out a little heart or a shape and sew it right onto your fabric. And it comes in a variety of colors. I found all of these in my local Joann fabric and craft store. You can find them in the back near the upholstery section, and they come in large rolls. You can buy it by the yard, and for this project you only need about 1/4 yard, which is about this wide, and you can make a lot of cases with that. You'll notice that it's backed with this nice soft backing, which is great for these cases. And sometimes it even comes with a little bit of a fuzzy back. And I love this particular one right here because it really looks like leather. Okay, let's cut out our vinyl. Decide what kind of design you want to do on your little case. You could leave it totally plain like this, or you could start adding stripes to it, or you can add all sorts of fun little designs. Some of these I have drawn myself, and what I like to do is to draw on paper and then I trace it to cardstock so that I have all these little different pieces. Like I have the stem, and then I have the flower that goes on top, so I can do 2 different colors. For the sunglasses, I found a cool image online of some sunglasses, printed it, and then cut it out. So just get creative and do what sounds interesting to you. For this particular one, I think I'm gonna go with hearts, and I have 2 different sizes here. And I think I'm gonna go with yellow and white because yellow is my favorite color. So let's cut some yellow first. You want to cut your vinyl 3 3/4 inches by 15 inches. So I'm going to start first by cutting maybe a longer piece. Let's do the 15 first. This just makes it a little easier than working with the whole roll at once. Okay. Then let's fold it in half. That will make it easier to cut as well. Cut a straight line first. And I'm using my mat, my rotary cutter, and my ruler, which you can also find at Joann. They have an awesome variety of sewing tools. Okay, and then 3 3/4. 1, 2, 3 3/4. Okay, there we go. That, and then we want 15 inches. Right there. Okay, got our piece. Now let's cut out our hearts. I'm using white, and it's best to trace to the back side of the vinyl. Let's take your little template here, and I'm going to do 1 big heart and 2 little hearts. And the reason you want to trace to the back is that, well, you don't want any of your pen marks maybe showing up on the front. And if you make a mistake, you're never gonna see it, you know. I mean, I never make mistakes. Okay, sometimes. Okay, and then I'm just cutting these out with my scissors. I'm all done cutting out. Now we're ready to sew. Okay, I've got my case fabric and my hearts, and I've got my Teflon presser foot on my machine, which is great when you're sewing with vinyl because it really helps the fabric glide through. If you don't have one for your machine, you can just put a little piece of tape on the bottom of your standard foot. Now the first thing we want to do is to sew the top and bottom, I guess they're both tops, under, about 1/2 inch. And as with vinyl, you don't really want to press it with an iron, so I'm just going to finger press it, which works pretty well. I'm using these awesome Wonder Clips, which are really fantastic when you're working with vinyl. You don't want to use sewing pins because it will perforate and leave holes. You can get these at Joann as well, and I use them all the time. Go to your machine, do a little forward and back stitch at the beginning. There you go. And then just sew right down. Do a back stitch, and you want to use a thread color that is either gonna coordinate or contrast. So you will see the thread on the outside of your little case. So think about that before you start sewing. Now let's do the other side. Folding it under again, about 1/2 inch. And you could measure to make sure they're both perfectly even, but it's probably close enough. Okay. I love this project because it is really fast. In fact, the other day my daughter was going to a teenagery, actually she's not a teenager, she's a tweenager, but a party for one of her friends. I mean, I totally forgot that the party was happening, and she picked out some blue and hot pink vinyl and we made a little sunglasses case. So it's a good like last minute kind of project too. Okay, now you can see our case is looking like a case. If you wanted to be done, you could just sew it on the sides and be done. But let's add our hearts. I'm gonna press it at the bottom, again with a finger press, just so I can kind of see what kind of area I'm working with. And then decide how you want your design to look on top. I might do a heart there, heart here, heart there. Or I could, you know, be a little more up and down. So let's see, I think I kind of liked how it was before. Let's do that. Big heart in the middle, 2 hearts, crazy and random. We'll start with the middle heart. And again, you can't use pins here and your Wonder Clip is not really gonna fit. So what you could do is use a tiny piece of double-sided tape, or you can just hold on and do your best. I'm more of that kind of method. There you go. Okay, now I'm sewing about 1/8 inch from the edge of that heart. When I get to the end, lift my presser foot, pivot and turn, and go around to the other side. Okay, as you go around the curved areas, you want to be slow. So what I like to do is I stop, lift my presser foot, and sometimes I sew just 1 or 2 stitches. And do it again. You just have to barely lift your presser foot for it to pivot. But you do want to kind of lift it a little because sometimes it can kind of, I don't know, drag the fabric. There we go. Okay, when I get back, I do a little back stitch. And we're done with heart number 1. Now let's position our next heart. Let's see, I can't remember which one was going which way. Maybe I'll do them both that way. Okay, now we'll do our next one. Hold it in place. Okay. I like to sew the straight parts of the heart first so that it really gets everything in place before you start doing the curves. Okay, now let's sew our last heart. Let me fold it in half again so I can remember exactly what my spacing is. Let's see, how about something, yeah, like that. Okay, back to our machine. I told you this project is really fast. When we're done with this, we sew the sides, finished. Okay, I'm at the end here. Do a back stitch. Let's see how it looks. Awesome, really easy. Okay, all we have to do, fold this thing, well first let's trim off all of our little threads. That will be difficult to do once this is folded in half. Okay, there we go. Now let's fold this thing in half and we're just gonna sew right on the outside. Again, you wanna use your Wonder Clips to really hold it in place. This is an important part that you don't want the fabric to shift. So I'm just clipping down the sides. And the reason I had you cut it 3 3/4 is so that you have a little extra room to trim the edges when you're done, in case anything does shift or it's a little jagged looking. So come back to your machine and we're gonna use about, I don't know, 1/4 inch to 3/8 inch seam allowance. And this first part is gonna be a little difficult to get through because now you're sewing through 4 layers of this vinyl. So just go slowly, and sometimes you might have to help push it through that initial part, but once you get past it, it's fine. So do a little back stitch. And then push your way through. There we go. Go down. Do back stitch at the end. And do the other side. This time we'll start at the bottom. Okay, I'm at the end here. Let's come off, cut our threads off. Do we have any loose ones? Okay, that's looking awesome. Now what I was talking about is that I kind of want to trim up these edges here just so it looks really nice and professional. So take your scissors, just kind of trim it like that. Don't get too close to the edge that you cut it into the stitching. You want to leave about 1/8 of an inch. Cut in the other side. And that looks totally awesome. Let's stick our sunglasses inside. And there you go. Little case, little sunglasses. Sunglasses case. For more ideas and tutorials, check out my website, madeeveryday.com. And for vinyl and other sewing needs, go to your local Joann store or visit joann.com. I'll see you next time. Bye.